there, Agile Adventurer. Just a quick question. What if, for the price of a fancy coffee or half a pizza, you could unlock over 700 hours of the best Agile content on the planet? That's audio, video, e-courses, books, presentations, all that you can think of. But you can also join live calls with world-class practitioners and hang out in a flame war-free and AI slop-clean Slack with the sharpest minds in the game. Oh, and yes, you get direct access to me, Vasco, your Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. No, this is not a drill. It's the Scrum Master Toolbox membership. And it's your unfair advantage in the Agile world. So if you want to know more, go check out scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. That's scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. And check out all the goodies we have for you. Do it now. But if you're not doing it now, let's listen to the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Success Thursday, the big question of the week, this week with Salum Abdul-Rahman. Hey, Salum, welcome back.
Hello, I'm here.
Indeed, you are, to talk about success, and we'll talk about that in a second. But first, share with us, Salum, what's your favorite Agile retrospective format and why?
Well, my favorite Agile retrospective format is the 5-stage retrospective format, and I presented in Agile Retrospectives, Making Good Teams Great. I think it really captures the learning process, and this is this links to my university studies. I did a minor in knowledge management, and there is a knowledge management, like organizational learning development model called the SECI model. So there are 4 phases: socialization, externalization, combination, and internalization. And I really think that the different that the 3 central phases, like after the beginning, like opening the retrospective and between closing the retrospective, the 3 phases really well mimic 3 of the phases in this academic organizational development model. So I think it really well, understanding this model really helps the team to actually create new knowledge, create new behavior that helps them succeed better.
Yeah, and you said something that is really important, right? Like we don't often talk about it, not even here on the podcast, but the outcome of a retrospective, or at least multiple retrospectives, not necessarily every retrospective, but when you put multiple together, the outcome is behavioral change. Right. And when you look at it, I mean, we talk about it in many different ways. Learning, solving problems, removing impediments. Those are all things we talk about that come out of a retrospective. But in the end, they are all forms of behavioral change. And that is because we need to adapt to the system, right? As Deming used to say, a bad system will beat a good person every time. So we need to adapt. We need to be able to succeed in the system we're part of, and sometimes, of course, change the system. And that can only happen through behavioral change. So I think that's a very important aspect of this retrospective formats that we choose to apply.
The role of retrospectives is to create more knowledge, and the way you see an organization that has more knowledge is that the behavior is different than in an organization that does not have this new knowledge.
Absolutely. So we'll put the link to the 5-stage retro format as well as the book, of course, and to the SECI model of knowledge management so that people can go and investigate those further. But now let's focus on success and what that means for us. So Salum, share with us.
Before we go to that, yeah. I want to drop one more, this is one of my favorite academic tidbits, is that the people who created the SECI model, Nonaka and Takeuchi, it was published in, I think, the Knowledge Creating Companies, is the name of the article. They also wrote earlier the new a new product development game article, which is a major contributor for the creation of Scrum. So this is from the same academic heritage.
Absolutely. We'll put the link to those on the show notes. And of course, the new product development game seminal paper for anyone interested in Agile. And we'll put the link to the knowledge creating company as well. And now let's dive to success. Salum, share with us, what does success mean for you as a Scrum Master?
I want to make myself not needed anymore. So the biggest, the most important role of a Scrum Master is to help the team to develop and develop themselves. And when you are at the point that the team is learning, then the team can develop themselves without your help, then my job is done. There's a lot of work to get to that point. I'm not sure if I've ever reached it with any team, but there's a point where, as a Scrum Master, if a team is functioning well and it's developing themselves, you start thinking about, well, what can I do to build resilience into the team? So it's not just success, but then you need to find a way to motivate the team to challenge itself in new ways in order to develop that capability. Often this is not necessary. I don't think there's really any team that didn't have enough external problems to overcome, external or internal, that as a Scrum Master, I would be feeding them new or coming up with new challenges in order for them to develop themselves. But I think when you're reaching that point, then you need to have that discussion with management, that is this team important enough that we want to start building the resilience above the operational capability. And then it becomes like a business decision whether I'm needed elsewhere, because I think one of the story part about being a Scrum Master is that often you're brought in to a project that needed a Scrum Master 6 months ago. So being there from the beginning and helping set up a team to success, helping them overcome their initial challenges, going through that storming process. It seems to be like that. That's a luxury very rare teams have, that they have that methodological support from Scrum Masters in the beginning. But Scrum Masters and Agile coaches are brought in when the tire fire is already 3 stories high.
And that's actually a very good point, because sometimes the Scrum Master role is understood as needed, but it always takes some time to get somebody to come in and do that role for the team, right? And this is why Scrum starts from the perspective that you need 3 key roles in a team: the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the team members, right? Because that's what makes a great team system. Now, we could all argue that, Scrum does not tackle the wider systemic issues and so on. That's another point. We can discuss that in another episode. But that knowledge, that understanding, that pattern that Scrum built is very important. When you put a team together that has no Scrum Master, and some teams are also put together without a product owner, anti-pattern of anti-patterns, then we have a big problem, because that's not what a successful software development ecosystem looks like, right? And as you very well said, maybe at some point the team is working well. There's no more need for a Scrum Master. Okay, is this team important enough so that we need to build it to the next level? You called it resilience, adaptability, ability to cooperate outside the team boundaries, and all of that are parts of it. Is this team important enough, or is it time for me to move on and help another team, right? I think that's a very important reflection for all of us to have at some point.
Or maybe step into more of an agile coach-like role, that you're no longer with the team, but you're just contributing maybe once a week a session or something like that.
I also, from my own experience now, speaking in my role as a Scrum Master and also Agile coach, I have never seen a team that has been in that stage, right? Like where they are completely, fully operationally capable for a long time. Even those that get to that point, there are other conditions within the system, but outside the team that start to affect team behavior and start to create deterioration. And to illustrate this point, I very often say that when we go to work, it's a different team from the team it was yesterday because something happened when we weren't there, right? Like there could be, personal issues. Somebody's on vacation. There's an urgent meeting to discuss some future decision that changes the system. And that's also an insight that we need to take in as Scrum Masters. When we go to work every day, we need to understand what is the system that is in front of me now, right? Like, and of course, it's obvious if a team member changes, new team member comes in, whatever, that is obvious. But even when the same people are there, the conditions around may change the triggers in the system and may change the behaviors and the expectations within the team members.
At Reactor, we have this practice that teams should have these sort of recalibration workshops every once in a while, because they're similar to kickoffs, but maybe a bit more limited in scope, just to create the shared understanding about like what's going on, how have we changed. I think that's a really useful tool for that. But of course, as with retrospectives and all other things, if there is nobody reminding you of it, it's up to the discipline of the team. And I really think that people underappreciate how much discipline working in agile ways requires from the developers. Because you get a lot of freedom, but that freedom comes with the cost that you need to be really disciplined in how you work as a team.
Very well said. Very well said. Thank you for sharing all of those insights with us today, Salum.
No problem. Happy to be of help for anybody who might be listening.
All right, I hope you liked this episode. But before you hit next episode, here's the deal. This podcast is powered by people like you, the members who wanted more than just inspiration. They wanted real tools and real connection to people who are practicing Agile every day. We're talking access to over 700 hours of Agile Gold, CTO level strategy talks, summit keynotes, live workshops, e-courses, deep dive interviews, books, and if you're into no estimates, we got the pioneers of no estimates in those deep dive interviews as well. Agile business intelligence, creating product visions, coaching your product owner courses, you name it. You'll get invites to monthly live Q&As with Agile pioneers and practitioners, plus a private Slack community, which is free of all of that AI slop you see everywhere, and of course, without the flame wars. It's a community of practitioners that want to learn and thrive together. It's the best place to connect with community and learn together. So if this podcast has helped you before, imagine what you will get from this podcast membership. So head on over to scrummastertoolbox.org/membership and join the community that's shaping the future of Agile. And we have so much for you. So check out all the details at scrummastertoolbox.org/membership, because listening is great, it's important, but doing it together, that's next level. I'll see you in the community Slack.
We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.